Hey guys, Ryan here for Toy Nerds. Today we are looking at NECA's Life Size E.T. Here it comes. So NECA's Life Size E.T. This thing is, it's a beautiful sculpt. And if you're like me and loved E.T., man, it is probably the ultimate collector's toy for an E.T. collector. This movie has been everything since my childhood. It's one of those nostalgic movies you can always go back to. It's a classic cult film. It's Spielberg's probably one of his best, I think, maybe if not his best movie, especially for me. It has that Spielbergian Americana, early 80s family feel to it, which I really think spawned a lot of those 80s movies that we all know and love. But one of my most favorite thing about it is the creature effects that we got from this E.T. creature. There's nothing like it in movies past or present or even in the future. I think some of the details they did with this creature were phenomenal. Of course you've probably noticed his mouth moves, his eyes move, but there's little things you might not notice. So halfway through the movie, he wants to go home, and there's an awesome scene where you see him point up to the sky and say, well, he doesn't say E.T. phone home. If you actually listen to it, it actually says E.T. home phone. But that's another story in a completely different sense. But if you watch it, his hand pulsates from his veins when he's pointing up to the sky. It's stuff like that that really brought him to life, I feel like, in this movie, and just really made a connection between, well, me as a kid and him as a creature. And it's so awesome to be able to own him in such a way with this new NECA life-size statue. Now, of course, it's been around for a while, but me personally owning it. There's some things I love about it, there's some things I don't love about it, but overall, for the price you pay for this guy, I paid just over $550 for him. And that's a lot of money, yes, but this is a life-size thing. This is not something this big, it's not a hot toy, it is a life-size statue, and that's where it needs to come down to. That's where you're putting your money into. But things I will note. He is foam, of course, and foam, of course, deteriorates over time. And by deteriorating, I mean like the foam won't be as strong in the arms. The foam won't be as strong as the head. His head's being held up straight like this. So maybe in 10 years, I might start slouching a little bit. It all depends on how well or badly it deteriorates, depending on how long you leave it in the sun and such. But the sculpt on this guy is quite beautiful. You can tell the original sculpt work on it was quite nice. The artist has done a lot of beautiful, intricate lines around his eyes, lines around his nose, and really got that E.T. look and feel, which is, it's really hard to capture. He does have a lot of detail in throughout him. But past that, once it left the artist's hands, or the original sculptor's hands, you can tell that NECA's really put it through the manufacturing part of it, and they've had to build thousands and thousands of these things to go out into market. And for this particular piece, I really feel like NECA really kind of dropped the ball. These guys are the creators of stuff like the NECA 1/4 scale Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles that I personally love. I have all of them, and you can see them behind me. They are lifelike. They feel like they are popped straight out of the movie. Whereas E.T., he looks amazing, like the sculpt and everything looks amazing, but it really drops down, I think, on the paintwork. And once it's come out of the molding process, so originally they would have sculpted in clay, put it into a molding process, and then, made it with foam. But once it's come out of that molding process, it's been two separate parts. And the separate parts are being glued together and then painted and so forth. But the two separate parts, they're really clearly put together. There's a real, quite a large seam through the center of them. And it's not just mine, it's throughout the NECA line of these guys that this has happened. So it's happened in the process of the manufacturing team and what's happened along the line. But you just have to remember, it's a really low cost figure. But the airbrushing in this guy, it's not amazing. I think there's a lot to be desired with this, and it kind of reminds me of Castle Grayskull and Snake Mountain from the 80s, where not every single one was exactly the same. You can tell it's gone through a line of paintwork where they would have done the base coat, then they would have done the red on it. There's a little bit of red on his nose and mouth, and then they would have gone with the shading and whatever else is left over with the eyes and stuff. And it's a very quick process of boom, 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 move along, boom, 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 move along. And you can tell. And it's fine when you look at it from a distance, but when you start getting up close to the detail and you want to look at it, it really starts to show that it really has gone through a chain of process and through the manufacturing really quite quickly. So with that in mind, I really want to repaint mine. I really want to get the eyes perfect. I want to get the skin texture and the quality of the skin perfect. The sculpt is there, you can see it, but I think we can improve on it. So in the coming weeks, we're gonna have more videos about this ET. We're gonna start with its eyes, we're gonna move on to its head, we're gonna start doing its torso, we're gonna get this thing looking amazing. It's gonna be a video series starting off with the eyes. And until next time, we'll catch you with that video, but also, in case we don't see you, we'll see you guys at the toy store.